So let's see, small talk stuff first. So is that a Les Paul over your shoulder there
It
hanging on the
is.
wall?
That is a Gibson Les Paul. Yep,
Nice, nice. Used to be just down the road in Kalamazoo there.
it did.
You
There's a lot of
know?
history with music here in the West Michigan area.
Yeah, and then is that what do you have like some the jaws of a shark or something there on the library shelf?
Oh yeah, totally right. So everything I used to dive. I say that I don't say I'm a diver anymore because I haven't been diving in a long time. I will when
Yeah.
I get older. But yeah, so I love the water, love to dive, and that's a shark, a real one too. It came from a real shark. So
Wonderful. Well, it's so interesting. I'm always telling people do such a poor job on Zoom, and I'm always saying to them, I'm paying attention to what's behind you. Now, is that competing with you? Is that adding to your story? Is it enhancing something? Is it, or is it just there?
yeah.
It's amazing how many people don't even think about what's behind them, when they get on a call. Um,
That is so true, and this really also just tells the story of our company, Manobyte, being
yeah.
shark bite, and so it's all.
Oh, good one, good one. So let's see. Then a couple of little housekeeping things. So I wanted to thank you for this wonderful package I got.
Oh,
Okay.
you're welcome. You got some
Now,
cool socks.
oh yeah. Now. So I want to give you some. Let's see. So also, I got to give you I only give shit to people I care about. Okay. So I get this wonderful box, right? I open it up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I got socks, amazing. I got a fantastic hat, really great. I got a great shirt, right here. The inside, all the attention to detail, the inside of the box, lid, all this, just oh my gosh, just thought way out, right? And then I'm sitting there going, okay, now I'm kind of like, okay, what are these? Okay, and it's like, oh, okay, why Manobyte, right? Okay, our service is cool. And I'm going like, okay, why do I need?
Why
I
did
don't
you get
know.
100 of them?
Yeah, why do I need that many? And then I go, oh, well, this is nice. Okay, yeah, oh, it says thanks. Okay, and let's open it up. Oh no, that one doesn't. That doesn't say anything. Let's see, maybe this one does. No, that one doesn't. But
No way.
here's four more cards that say Manobyte that haven't been folded, let alone written in, and then there's like I don't know what do we have here, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight pens. Okay,
Oh my
it's
goodness.
and it was like one of these things that's like, oh my god, it was almost fantastic, almost,
Oh, this
and
close.
then I was like, you were this and then like this is really good stuff in here, right? And but I was like, okay, like it just kind of hit me. Did somebody in the mailroom go, oh yeah, send this Mark guy one of those packages or something, right? And after all the time and care your team took to Mark, what's your address? We want to send you something. So I mean, you got a great team. I just from one guy to another, I just wanted to say, hey,
I
check that out.
appreciate that. Wow.
You know,
Yeah,
you
no,
know,
that's great.
because Anyway, so I wanted to share that with you, and then also I just to make sure that I'm ready for the energy for our call today. I got my bottle of our can of Liquid
Yeah,
Death
look at that.
water here, so it's water, so it's okay.
Yeah.
But
And I've
I
got
just
my Uptime water energy drink.
oh yeah, okay, we're good then. We're good
Yeah, so we're
now.
good.
Yeah, okay. So now, so my plan was that I was interviewing you for my podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will kind of kick it off and so forth, and talk a little, and then introduce you, and you can tell us a little bit more about you and Manobyte. And then I thought we'd just start to get into our subject, and we just kind of have a free flowing conversation, and we'll go 20 minutes or until we run out of good stuff to say.
Yeah. No, I
And-
love it. I'm just planning on nothing scripted, nothing pre-planned. Let's just have a great conversation.
yeah. Now, I looked at my notes from our last conversation, and you had an interesting thing, and I have this hard time reading sometimes my handwriting for my notes, but it said contractors and distributors. And I remember you had this because I was intrigued by the questionnaire that you send out to people on your podcast. I thought, wow, those are great questions. I'll bet you've learned a lot of really good, insightful stuff. And so you said something about distributors and contractors. And do you remember at all? Am I refreshing your mind, or is it top of mind about what you were thinking about we should talk about?
Yeah, so not 100% triggering my mind, but let me tell you about what we're passionate about, and more than likely this is the line of discussion that it was about, because it's something that I talk about all the time. And as you know, manufacturers do a very poor job of marketing and selling because they're not really 100% concerned about how everything flows directly through the channel. And so sometimes manufacturers we hear this all the time. We're not focused on the customer, the end customer, whoever that might be down the line, whether that's, a lot of times they don't even care about the contractor and forget about caring about the consumer whose product it typically ends up in. They care about typically just, my customer is the distributor. That's my customer, and that's how it works. But
Got it.
The problem is, when you are thinking about the entire life cycle, manufacturers really need to think about that entire customer experience, from the distributor to the contractor to the consumer, and making sure that everything that they do is creating that amazing customer experience throughout, especially now when it comes to digital. Because what's happening is there are so many disconnects in the messages, in the marketing, in the relationships, in the content that's being distributed, and it's a bad experience, right? And so manufacturers need to think about the entire channel, and they need to be putting together programs that help their customers' customers and their customers' customers' customer.
Fantastic. We're on the same. This is fantastic. Great. All over it. We're good. So, all right. So I'm going to go ahead and kick things off, okay? And we'll just go from there, right?
Let's do it.
So I'll just, if this helps my guy, if he hears some loud claps and he can cut out all that bullshit before us, and that'll be good. Hello, this is Mark Mitchell from Wizard Strategy. Glad you were able to join us again this week for an episode of my podcast, and I'm really excited today. Got an amazing guest that Kevin Dean from Manobyte. Kevin and I just got to know each other in the last 6 or 9 months, and I've just wish I'd met him earlier. He's a very insightful person when it comes to building material sales and marketing. He's got a great, very talented agency that's focused on building materials, and so we've just been having conversations back and forth, and I said, hey, I'd really like to have you as a guest on my podcast. You've got a lot of good wisdom that I know my listeners would really value. So Kevin, I want to welcome you. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself, your background, and Manobyte?
Yeah. Hey, Mark. Thanks. It is so great to be here on your show, and we're glad to be a part, and it's been a pleasure getting to know you too. So just a little bit about myself, and my story is really tied to the agency and that path of how we got here. So I founded Manobyte 12 years ago as a digital agency, and our company's name is Sharkbite. It's Manobyte, but it's Hawaiian word for shark is mano, so Sharkbite is kind of the whole thing. But my history was that I worked in Fortune 500 prior to starting the agency, and the last company that I worked for was Stanley Black & Decker. And so at Stanley Black & Decker, I was responsible for helping a lot with their digital programs. But I found that I was struggling being there because they weren't able to get past the corporate challenges and really deliver solutions that were helping the entire channel. And so that's where I said, you know what? I want to go out and help deliver solutions for people who really need them. That's why I started Manobyte, and here we are 12 years later, doing some great things and enjoying the things that we do.
Oh, that's great. And you're located in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Is that correct?
That is correct. That's where we're headquartered.
Awesome. And so today we're going to talk about how you need to, is a big thing, if you follow me at all, that I believe in is you're selling through your customer, not selling to your customer. And that the best way you can do things to be successful is to make your customer more successful. And so Kevin and I are going to talk about how you need to, we'll just start with the distributor's example, where many companies are and salespeople are focused on the first customer, the customer that places the actual order, the customer that pays the bill, and that's where they spend most of their time and focus. And Kevin and I want to talk today about why that is short-sighted and not. It's not going to serve you well in the long term. So, Kevin, what are your thoughts on this subject?
Oh boy, this is something that I am super passionate about, and I think that it's important for manufacturers to understand that not only do they have to be focused on their initial customer, but their customer's customer and their customer's customer's customer, and they really need to create programs that are designed to enable everyone throughout their channel to really have an amazing customer experience by using data, technology, and content to deliver value throughout the entire channel.
Yes, I agree. I see too many salespeople that spend too much time with the first customer. And they do that because they're not going to face any rejection. The first customer likes them. They're old buddies, and let's stop by and see that distributor and check on how things are going. It's comfortable, right? And maybe I want to make sure that everything is good, and maybe that there hasn't been a competitor in there trying to take my position or something. But one of the things that really hit me was when I interview distributors. Many times they'll say, Mark, I really love this company and I love this rep, but he would help both of us if he spent less time here and spent more time with my customers. So if my customers are contractors in the case of a one-step distributor, or my customers are lumber dealers in the case of a two-step distributor, they're going, why isn't he out telling his story to my customers? and I just consistently hear that. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, the challenge is a lot of salespeople, honestly, have become order takers instead of real salespeople, right? And what they're doing is they're going to their distributor and saying, hey, here's the product that I've got. How many of these do you want this week, right? And they'll say, well, I don't want some, or I want 5 of these, or do you have it in a different color, right? And that's what they end up doing. And that is short-sighted for the salesperson, and it's short-sighted for the distributor. A lot of manufacturers want to grow, and the way that they grow is making sure that they have the consistent message that communicates with everyone through the channel. And so in order for that to happen, then you've got to have salespeople who know how to tell a story consistently throughout everyone in the channel. They have to understand the needs and the challenges of that second customer. They need to understand contractors, right? What are the challenges that contractors are having, and why are they looking to buy certain products? We hear stories like this all the time. Can I tell you a story?
I love stories. I love stories.
So we're working with a manufacturer who sells treated wood products, right? And here in the Grand Rapids area, we get a lot of snow. We get a lot of snow up here, right? And one treated lumber product is not the same as another treated lumber product. And there are certain products that if you install them in your house, in 5 years, your door jambs are going to be looking horrible. But the company that we were working with, they had an amazing product that was go through a special treated process that would really solve for those problems that contractors are wanting to solve. Like contractors don't want callbacks, right? And so they don't want callbacks. There's a product that will solve for that, but they weren't communicating that to the contractors, and therefore the contractors would go into the lumber yard and say, "Hey, give me treated lumber," without knowing that there's a difference, right? And so that's why it's important for manufacturers to be able to communicate that process throughout the entire channel. And just to go further with that story, the contractors don't understand the difference, and therefore they have a hard time selling it to the homeowner, right? So the homeowner doesn't know, and the homeowner isn't looking for it. So they also need to be instructing and helping that contractor to educate the consumer. And being able to do that digitally actually solves for that, because you're going to have different sales rep, different people. And so by having digital content that explains all of that really helps. And so for this one manufacturer customer that we're working, we help them with video and messages that helped communicate throughout the entire channel, and that really helped them significantly see growth.
Yeah. Okay. So now, I'm going to put on two hats here. So
All right.
one hat is I'm the old school guy, sales manager, and I'm saying to my sales reps, okay, look, spend more time with our customers. Okay. Spend more time, go out and talk to their contractor customers. Maybe ask them, is there a contractor that doesn't buy from you that you would like to? And perhaps we can help convince them and bring them a new customer. And so go do that old school. Okay. Go knock on doors, go meet with people, or go to the Grand Rapids HBA meeting or whatever, with the best ways to physically meet people. All right. Now we got this new world of digital. And so we've got websites, we've got marketing automation, SEO, content, all these things, right? So now help me understand, Kevin, how does digital play a role in this, or how does digital help to get that story out?
Yeah, so there are a couple of things that digital can do to help facilitate the growth for companies. Number one, it helps with consistency of message, right? So a salesperson can only have so many communications with so many people at so many times, and depending on their day, what's on their mind, their message may vary, right? Based on how that conversations go, and it may not be consistent. By leveraging digital, you can make sure that you are having a consistent message at scale, right? So now you can have electronic communication to your customer, your customer's customer's customer. It's a consistent message, and you can reach more people. And the technology that's out there today doesn't cut the salesperson out. It actually gives them more insight. And so using technology tools, a sales rep can say, oh, who's the person that I should be going to? Because they're actually more engaged with the content that's out there. And I know, because we've scored them, that this person is actually going to be more readily available to listen to the message that I have to say and actually purchase more, instead of just going on a route based on my territory, who I feel like I want to go to today, just based on a flip of a coin.
Okay. Now I'm always intrigued with helping people to continuing to understand this transition from what I'll call old school to digital. So old school, I look and say, okay, right here in Grand Rapids, I know these are the three biggest contractors. Like, I know them. I can go knock on their door, or I know who I should either meet with, or hopefully, if I'm a good salesman, they know who I am, and I can get a meeting with them. Now digital is kind of like, I feel like it's funny. I've been doing a series with Mark Allen Roberts on different types of salespeople. And there's like this new kind of salesperson that Mark came up with. There's the hunter and there's the farmer, but now there's the fisherman, right? And so this digital world, our website and SEO and all this, they're casting this big net out there. and there's people that we didn't know. We don't know there's 5 more people in Grand Rapids that would be interested in our product, okay? We think we know everybody, but we don't.
We don't.
Or it could be a large firm that has 30 employees, and we know the boss, but the person that's really going to, is a different person that's really going to say, hey, we should change suppliers or change products. And so talk a little bit more about like how digital can reach those people, because I find a lot of old school guys have a hard time thinking that a contractor or builder actually goes on Google and types in a question. Okay, they just and to me, I watch companies that, like you say, have not only good digital programs but good metrics, the data. It's like you sit there and go, oh my gosh, they really are doing this. And we're reaching, I see digital as enabling us to reach people who we know exists, but also to be pulling people in that may not be have been on our list of targets.
Yeah. So let me tell you a couple of stories of things that we've seen. I love telling stories because I think that it resonates, and it's really real life examples here. So we were recently speaking with a large builder, and I asked him to explain his process. What's your daily process when you're going through a build? And obviously that includes, going to the distributor, you buy a product, whatever that might be. And then what was interesting to me, he said every time right before we go onto a build, we actually go out to YouTube. And what we do on YouTube is we're looking for tips on how to actually install this product, because nobody likes reading the tech specs. So they don't want to read the tech specs. They're going out to YouTube to Google how to actually install this. And they have to do it for every single job, every single time, because every single project may have a little variation, even if they're building, 300 of the same, houses all at once because they're spec homes. But every time they're going out to YouTube to look for instructions on how to actually install a product that they bought. And they're actually, there is this huge network of builders and others out there who are creating content for themselves because the manufacturers aren't creating it. So the manufacturers aren't creating the content that is needed to help these builders in their process. Well, that's really horrible, right? It's a bad experience. Now, the manufacturer should first be creating the content. And when they do, they're going to learn a lot of different things, right? They're going to understand and learn how people are using their product and what challenges they're having. And then they can use that data to create more innovative new products and solutions that actually solve for the problems of the customers. And it's going to help them in their selling process because they're going to know what people are like, what they like, and why they like it. So that's one example.
No, that's great. Because I also see a problem with companies go through kind of a phase or stages. So phase 1 is I don't recognize the value or importance of content. Phase 2 is that I recognize it, but all I can do is generate content talking about how great I am and my product, okay? Phase 3 is I go, oh, I need to develop content that is solving the customer's problem and positioning our product as a solution, not just once again, touting the 5 reasons why our product is the best.
Yeah. You're so spot on, Mark, because nobody cares about how great, quote unquote, great your product is, or quote unquote, how great your company is, right? They have a problem, right? And they're looking for a solution to it. And so creating educational content that solves for problems, then automatically they're going to say, oh, company manufacturer X can solve my problem. I'm going to use their product, right? Because they're solving for my problems. That's the way.
Right. Yeah, but it is. I don't know what it is. It is there's a couple of companies I know that make a great product. They do a great job on content and social media, except it's only about them. Everything's about them. And it kind of reminds me, I used to be in the agency business, and you're in the agency business, and it's agencies. It's so funny for as smart as they are and forward thinking and creative and so forth. They sometimes can't get out of their own ways themselves. I've had a couple of agencies that have said, Mark, how do you do so well with your content and SEO and all your newsletter readers and all this stuff? And I'm like, it's really simple. I try not to talk about myself, and I had one firm like pay me to put a plan together for them, and they couldn't help themselves. It was like, and look at this award we won, and look at this great thing we did, and we can do this for you, It's like, no, stop it, and it's just, you do great, your Manobyte does great content, great, interviews with people, a lot of great information you've got on your website, and that, I think, is what we're talking about here. There's
go
ahead.
Yeah, manufacturers, they need to do a better, like you mentioned already, solving for the customer, and I see it in two ways, right? So I think about the flywheel, and the flywheel is the model that Collins wrote about.
Jim Collins.
Yep. Jim Collins, Good to Great.
Yep.
And so when you think about, people might think, oh, I'm selling, or oh, I'm marketing, or oh, I'm providing customer service, and really they're all tied together. And I think for a lot of manufacturers and distributors who are selling through the channel here, it really does start with providing great customer service, right? Because that's going to give your existing customers a reason to come to your website. Because people tell me, oh, no one's coming to my website. So if they're not coming to my website, they must not use the internet. Like, that's so not true. You just haven't given them a reason to come to your website, right?
Or come back.
And so a lot of the things that we do and talk about is like, okay, you need to think about creating a portal using PRM software to create a logged in experience that can provide your existing customers with helpful educational content that solves for their problems daily. And then when you do that, they're going to tell others, hey, we had this great experience with them, and here's why, right? And then others who don't know about will start coming and knocking on your doors because they talk to each other, right? They're talking to each other, they're connected, and it's just going to help to expand it. So start with providing a better customer experience, then let that fuel your marketing, and then that will fuel your sales.
Oh, you're right. And I think, though, that a better customer experience can be not just making it easy to order or specify your product. That's certainly important. But a better customer service also is about making it easy for the website visitor to get the information they need, which may be an answer to a question. Mm-hmm. And it's like I always tell companies I work with, your goal should be to be the in your category. So if your category is vinyl siding, your category is composite decks, your category is vinyl windows, whatever it is, your goal should be to have the most informative website in the whole category, so that people, I see this all the time where people will say, well, I go to this website even though I don't buy from them because I know I will get the answer to the question that I'm looking for. And I'm going, wow, I would sure want that, because eventually maybe they'll go, well, gee, I keep coming back here. Why am I not buying this brand? And it's just the ones that think of like, what are every possible question somebody could have? And there's an answer in there. And it's not just about their product. It's about, we'll say, Windows in general, just everything Windows, for example, and are the ones. And I, back to we were talking before about people going to learn things. And so there's a few people. So one comes to mind, my turn for a story. I'm working right now with a company that's a small company. And they're asking me to evaluate their brand because they're thinking about possibly making a change. And so I was having trouble figuring out why, when I interviewed their customer service people and technical support people and salespeople, why so many of their sales or inquiries are from an individual contractor or builder or even homeowner. Okay, I was just kind of going, wow, just something's unusual, right? And then I find that several years ago, they discovered this guy named Matt Reisinger. And Matt Reisinger took their product and did some videos about it. And I think I found like 12 videos on Matt Reisinger's site that he has like 800,000, I think, subscribers now. And they've been viewed 1.2 million times. Okay? Mm-hmm. So I'm sitting there going, okay, the head of the head of purchasing, the buyer for 84 Lumber, isn't going on Matt Reisinger looking for how to do something, right? But a small builder is, a contractor, an individual is, right? And it's back to your thing about, this, they are out there looking, and the content is, the content is not about, yay, this product. The content is about, this was a person that we'll call him an influencer that is trusted, and his experience with this product. Yeah. And you can tell Matt's, like, I remember when I first started my career, it was, okay, we got this guy named Bob Vila. If you give him $20,000, he will say nice things about your product, okay? Just tell him what to say. And, and you could watch him deliver it, and you kind of go, he's just reading lines. He doesn't actually, I don't know if he's actually ever touched the product, And that was an influencer in those days. And so now we have all these people, particularly in building materials, that's interesting. There's a guy, Dimitri, that has Roofing Insights, which is a fantastic site for roofing contractors, and he maybe has 44,000 viewers, and he's a real straight shooter about roofing manufacturers and which ones do a good job or a poor job. And then I found a guy that all he does is tell fence contractors how to be better fence contractors. And so I'm seeing this, a company would seem like could either, if there's a vacuum there, they could create their own. And then otherwise, look and say, is there already somebody there that you feel is a good, legitimate person, not just a person who's trying to bank off their followers. So it's just that proof statement was right there. It was like, how, are your sales this? How do people know you? How do people know to even call you? I can't find you if I type into Google. Oh, okay. Here's 1.2 million views, on Matt Reisinger. And so, that, I think that's another big change that I've seen. It's just as part of this whole digital explosion, if you will, over the last 5 years or so.
Yeah, I see it too. And I think one of the things, to your point, is that those examples, manufacturers need to be intentional about how they do it, right? So did they intentionally mean for him to create those types of customers, or did it happen by chance, right? Because a lot of times things happen by chance. I just think they need to be more intentional about why they're doing it and how they're doing it, right? And I think they have a strategy behind it. I think don't just go out and think, I'm going to get YouTube followers, I'm going to go do this. You really think seriously about it.
I think one of the challenges, Kevin, is what I call random acts of marketing. And just somebody, we'll just say a media rep or somebody, a company that produces videos, SEO, all these, calls you and gets you on the phone and pitches you on why this is a good idea. And you look and you go, oh, I got some money left in the budget. Sure, that looks like a good idea. You go, oh, well, our competition's doing a lot of stuff on Facebook. We should ramp up Facebook, right? And it's, it's like nothing drives me crazier than someone says, okay, the boss says we have to grow sales, or we got an objective to grow sales, or we need to do this, and so we immediately jump to a tactic. We go, oh, well, new website. Yep, get new website. We'll do a new website. That'll fix it. And or a social media program, or we're going to start YouTube channel. Okay, and so it's either something that's been sold to them, a salesman came, or somebody saw what a competitor's doing, and in today's world, well, so what happens is there's no strategy. It's just another. Here's all these marketing things. None of them are particularly a bad idea. It's just, man, if they were pulled together under one strategy, they would work so much better than when you're doing a little of this and a little of this and a little of this, and you aren't, you don't own any of them, and you're kind of mediocre at all of them, and that's the thing that drives me crazy, is just seeing how marketing today. It used to be you could sit around and go, okay, I have trade magazines, I have a trade show, here's like these tools that I have, and there's people coming to sell me all of these things, right? So I listen to these sales pitches, I divvy up my budget amongst those things, and away we go. Well, now you got to think a lot for yourself, because a lot of these things don't cost money. So there's no salesperson, coming to call on you. And that's why I think it's always great to have a good partner, like a good agency that you can trust, that is going to challenge your thinking and provide a different point of view, different, what about this, what about that, types of things. I
agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%.
And
go ahead. And when they have that strategy in place, I think what will happen is that a lot of things. I love that random act of marketing. I love that. I want to use that. But what will happen is that now they can start thinking more strategically about the channel and making sure that their marketing and sales initiatives are aligned. Because not only do they need to think about how do my marketing initiatives help my internal sales team, but again, going back to how we started, how does it help my customer sales team and my customer's sales team, right? So how do you help, that builder sell better, right? How do you help them sell better? And does your program or your marketing initiative help that builder sell better? And then does the builder know how to go back and tell the distributor, hey, we need these products for these reasons, and whether or not you have it or not, we need you to go and get it, right? Or I'm going to have to go to another distributor to get this product for these reasons. And then that's going to help drive sales. So not only does the manufacturer potentially get more customers, builders or contractors out there promoting their brand, but even extending their distributor network, because they have this, through channel marketing automation program that really is driving results. And there's a strategy behind what you're doing, and there's intentionality with it. Yeah.
And, there's another area, well, two more areas I want to talk about, and the first one is I'm going to call it playing defense. So I see so many times when it's sales leadership says we're going to grow 6%, or we're going to this, or, they've got certain growth goals, and could be units, could be dollars, customers, whatever it is, but there's growth goals, but they don't take into account that how many customers they're going to lose. So if I say we're going to grow 6%, but historically we lose 2% of our business, 2% of our customers, okay, that means I really have to grow 8% to hit my number, right? But somehow they don't look and say, what is our percentage of current customers that we lose? Distributors, dealers, people like that, how likely are we to lose? And so they don't do everything they can to keep those customers. Because it's so much cheaper to keep a customer than it is to get a new one. And it's amazing how, in worst case, it's like, well, we have that customer, but we don't have to worry about them. Let's go down to the guy we don't have, right? And
can I just make a comment on that? Because I see that recently. I talked to, not going to name the name, but everyone will know who this distributor is. And they told me, literally, like, because of COVID challenges and supply chain issues, that they're literally telling customers, they're quote unquote divorcing customers because they don't have product, and therefore they're saying, well, you're lower down the chain, go away, right? And so to your point, when they want to grow after this whole supply chain issue is done, now they're going to have to figure out I'm not just growing 6%, but I got to take into account all these customers who we lost before who may not come back to me because we treated them so crappy during COVID.
Yeah, that's a whole nother subject we could get in. We could do a whole nother podcast on that. But so what so I've seen where companies, clients I've worked with have a great product, and the customer's customer loves the product,
Mm-hmm.
and a competitor walks in and offers a lower price,
Mm-hmm.
and they get thrown out because of this lower price, and then the customer finds out how much his customers, how much his contractors and contractors will say depended on this product. They just weren't vocal about it. Like, no, this is the product I buy. What do you mean you don't carry this anymore? What do you mean you moved to this? Okay, and so one of the great ways of playing defense is to just have ways of constantly reminding your first customers, your distributors, let's say, how much contractors prefer you.
Mm-hmm.
So when they think about putting on a different line, it isn't like they're going to displace you. Maybe, okay, I'm gonna see if I put a lower price line in here in addition to yours, does that grow my sales? But they manufacturers too often don't do a good enough job of making it, reaching the end customer, and then having them vocalize it back to the distributor or dealer, like, this is the brand I want to buy from you. And so I think digital can also help in that regard, to be reaching those people, and perhaps having ways of having them vocalize that, so that the dealer, before they just switch for a lower price, they have to go, whoa, wait a minute, maybe that's not such a good idea.
Major problem, correct? Yeah.
Yeah. Now, next, so the last subject or area I want to talk about is, distributors, we'll say, are going, more and more distributors are going online. Right? Now, either that is their business model, like Dex Direct,
Yep.
or we'll say like somebody, we'll say like ABC Supply or something. It literally, they're making it like I can sit at home at night and I can place my order as if I was on Amazon, and whether my guys are going to pick it up in the morning or it's going to be delivered to a job site, right? I literally bought it online.
Yeah.
and so I find manufacturers. So that's the same customer, but they're reached a different way.
Yep.
And so I'm finding that the manufacturers have. I always think of the example with like Lowe's and Home Depot, where manufacturers have a national account manager for Lowe's or Depot,
Yep.
and they are very experienced in how the brick and mortar part of Lowe's or Depot works.
Yep.
They understand their distribution centers, they understand stores, they understand store sets, getting an end cap display, whatever. They understand that world. But those companies are rapidly going online, and so are the ABCs and other distributors, and I find that the manufacturer requires a new skill set to be able to talk to those customers the same way today, because they've got some really sharp digital marketing people who are measuring a different set of metrics than if you're looking at a store location. Yep. And so that's another area where I find that the manufacturers need to up their game. Besides,
100%. And they have different needs, right? They don't need.
Yes.
They don't need for me to walk into, their shop with physical windows or things that I'm going to show you. They need digital content. They need high resolution images. They need marketing videos that they can use. They need product information that helps to sell that online. And that's what they need in order to. And then they need systems to be able to electronically, instead of manually, share data back and forth, right? Integrations and all that stuff. And those are things that they don't have today, right? A lot of them aren't up to speed with that. So,
Well,
yeah.
I mean, it's not just, to me, in our world before the internet, you printed a catalog, and you better like it because you now own 20,000 catalogs, and you better not want to make a change or found a typo or something, and so we're so set, and here's our plan for the year. And digital is like you're changing things like hourly, if not daily. And so, fine, you meet with this. Let's say you go and get these customers really good high-res images. You get them good copy points. Maybe you get them a video or something, and you do everything you can. Well, that's just step one. Step two is now, okay, how is that performing? Okay, what's the benchmark? Okay, and you assume no matter how good you did, you can do better.
Yeah.
It just reminds me of when I first started my career, one of the few clients I had outside of building materials was a credit card company, and they were just they're just sending out tons and tons of direct mail offers to get people to sign up for a card. And here's their benchmark, gets a 3.2% response, right? And they would just go out to different creative firms and saying, here's some money, go develop an idea that you think can beat this, because we're just going to keep testing till we beat it. And most building material companies aren't used to working at that pace of just, it's like, we got something done, it's fantastic, pat myself on the back, don't have to worry about that. No, that was today's job. Tomorrow, you gotta beat that, right? It's like, what product, whether it's a competitor or not, on that distributor's website or big box website, what product performs the absolute best, and why? Okay, not that you're the best of the 5 paintbrushes. Fine, that's good. Now, how do you take it higher than that, right? And learning, that so that you can sit down with those people, those departments, and those customers. They think very differently than the person who's used to managing stores or buying for a store. And it's a different language, and there's creative ways you can really help these people. Like, I worked with one company that Lowe's is a big customer of theirs, and they wanted to increase the number of stores they had with Lowe's. And so we looked and saw how, no matter how good a job let's say Lowe's was doing on content and SEO and so forth, there's just too many products for them to be able to cover everything, right? And so we put together a content and SEO program that the manufacturer did on their site with their stuff, but it directed everybody to Lowe's, so they could walk in and show Lowe's, look how much more traffic we're sending to you, okay? And Lowe's is like, oh God, no, but why don't other people do this? This is genius, So I think it's a different way of thinking.
It totally is. And there's so many other things that digital gives. Once you have a program connected and you're doing it right, there's so many other opportunities that it can lead to. Like, I envision, for instance, take for an example, you're providing them with this digital information. You're connected with your distributors in a way where you're sharing information back and forth. And now you can be triggering things like when it's time to get new product updates. Distributors have a great value proposition because they know exactly when the product's going to be delivered, and then they can be sending out content that's designed to help that their next customer in that process. Like, here's tips on how to install this. Here's the tips that you need to know, and then sharing that information back and forth to everyone in the channel just can really provide some amazing solutions that makes everyone better, and it just creates better experiences. And so I think what you're talking about is making sure that we're leveraging data in a way that is creating a better experience for everyone in the channel.
Yes, and it's also a way to me, there's been a movement afoot for several years about like, okay, what is the value of a field sales representative? What is their job and what is their cost and what is their productivity? Okay, and it quickly starts to have a cap on it. Okay, just a human being can only get around traffic or cities and so forth, and there's certainly an importance and a value for field salespeople in the right position with the right objectives. But digital today can just help make all those people much more effective, and because it's reaching more people and it's helping them to understand which people should I spend time on versus which people am I wasting my time on. I'm just kind of going through the motions. So I think that those are certainly some other ways that digital can help. The other thing that Kevin, I see is that let's say I'm the digital marketing person for a distributor. Okay, and I've got 5 suppliers of this product. Okay, one of those companies is I'm going to view as the most digital savvy, and it doesn't mean the biggest. Okay, in fact, the biggest may be the least digital savvy, right?
Yep, I agree.
So when they have I wonder what we could do to grow our paint sales. I wonder what we could do to grow this, or I wonder what this, or I wonder what that. Okay, gee, who are they going to call to just maybe bounce some ideas off of? Okay, because that's also in digital, I find it's a much more inclusive opportunity. It isn't just we'll call you come in and bow down to us, and we'll treat you mean and demand all kinds of things from you.
Right, exactly.
Digital people are more like, hey, I got this idea. Do you think this would work? Or can we do this or that? And so they're looking at like, okay, I don't know, I have however 300 companies selling me stuff. There's probably 5 out of 300 that they go, these people have their act together digitally. When I'm thinking about changing a website or doing an outbound or inbound, whatever I'm thinking about doing digitally, I'm going to probably want to talk to those people, get their thoughts, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's another opportunity for the manufacturer to become. It's the competitive advantage that the manufacturer can have, and the old things about like how big you are, how well your brand is known, all of those kinds of things are every day becoming less important to me.
Yeah, I can totally understand. How do you help everyone become more digitally savvy and continue to grow and share ideas and really make the entire ecosystem more effective?
Yeah, because I think that just the whole industry we're going through just the beginning, I think, of a lot of disruption and innovation, where new ideas are going to be accepted. And so if you're the big old you're the Anheuser-Busch or Coca-Cola of your building material category, I'd be scared, because you're probably a little too confident, a little too sure of yourself. I'd be a little more scared, if I were you. Well, Kevin, this has been, you and I could, we haven't even had a drop of alcohol. We're solving the problems of the world here. We could, we'll figure out what thing the earth needs from us. But in the meantime, this has been, as I knew it would be, this has been really great. And I hope that the listeners got as much out of this as I did from talking to you. And so the way I kind of would take things away here, if I was just trying to wrap this up into some main points, one is to, stay focused on your customer's customer. Okay, you need to. The best way you can help your first customer is by helping them sell more of your products to their customers, to make them more successful. So stay focused on that part. And the other thing is just this whole discussion about digital. And so no matter where you are, if you're a small company and you just have a website and it's an okay website, and if the competition is better and you don't have HubSpot or all these Salesforce, all these other things, there's still things that you can do. And I always find the smaller company has the advantage because they're not afraid to try things. They're more nimble. It's like they have more to gain than to lose. Kevin, what are your main takeaways from what we talked about today?
Yeah, I think that from for me, number one is be strategic and avoid random acts of marketing. I love that. That was a great takeaway. And then the other thing that I think was a great takeaway from our discussion today is to really think about how everybody can help the industry become more technically savvy, and do your part to really relook at the way that you're looking at all of your initiatives.
Yes, I think that's very wise. But well, Kevin, thanks again for being my guest on here and
It
sharing
was
some of
great.
your
Loved it.
insights. Kevin, what's the best way? And I'll put it in the show notes and so forth. But what's the best way for people to get a hold of you, follow you, connect with you?
Yeah. So, first of all, you can find all of our information at our website, manobyte.com. You can send me emails directly at kevin@manobyte.com, and make sure to reach out to me on LinkedIn as well. Kevin Dean, you'll find me easily.
Yeah, Kevin has a lot of great content on his website, shares a lot of good stuff on LinkedIn, and it's Manobyte, right?
That's it. You got it.
Okay. So great. Well, thanks again, Kevin, and thank you everybody for tuning in. And as always, I hope you found this to be helpful, and please share it with others that you think would benefit from it. And I always like to hear from you if you have suggested subjects that you'd like to make sure that I cover on my podcast. So have a great rest of your week.